Hi, it's Professor Chelsea Russo showing you how to sew a waistband. So the first thing is I have a pair of shorts that have 2 darts in the front, 2 darts in the back, and a back zipper that need to have a waistband put in. So this is for a size 8 and the waist is measuring at about 27 inches. So I have a waistband cut. The waistband is measuring 5 inches wide by 30 inches long. You'll see at one end there's a notch that has for a 1/2 inch. It's a 1/2 inch from the end. The other side there's a notch that is 2 inches from the end, and that's going to give us the extension. If I put those 2 pieces together, notch to notch, and I figure out what the halfway point is, the halfway point is the center front, and I put a notch there. And those will be the important things that we need to start to assemble this waistband. I'm going to start by pinning the waistband onto the short. So I'm going to start with the 1/2 inch seam allowance, which is right where that notch is, right to the edge where my zipper fold ended. So I'm going to pin there. And I'm actually going to be doing all the pinning from this side, since this is the side I'm going to be sewing from. So I'm going to pin a few there. Then I'm going to find the midway point, which is marked on my waistband, and that would be the seam in the center front. And I'm going to pin those 2 together. Then while I'm doing that, I'm going to begin to go toward the opposite end, where I'm going to pin together the rest of the waistband, and where that notch is, it's going to end at this end of my zipper. If there are any threads in the way, of course, get them out. Then I'm going to pin in between around to the darts, making sure I pin them so that they're going the direction that I'd like them to sew, which is either toward the spine or toward the belly button. So I will go through and I will pin across and just get this all to ease nicely in. So I'll do that the whole way around. After I've pinned the whole way around and have this all ready and laid out nice and flat, I'm going to begin sewing. Now that the waistband has been pinned in, I'm going to start sewing. So I'm going to put the waistband side down. So I'm looking at all of the darts and seams that I'm going to have to go over. And I'm going to begin. Then I'm going to continue the whole way around. Being careful not to allow the seam allowances to pop up the wrong direction. Now that it has been stitched the whole way around, we're going to go to the iron and press this up. The next step is to prepare the waistband to start tacking it down. So the first thing we do is take the right side of the waistband and fold it in on itself. And on the side that has the extension, we're going to fold this down with that extension piece there, and we're going to pin it so that we can sew from down here over right to this very point where the zipper was connected. So I'm going to put my pins in so that I can sew this end. The other end, we'll do something similar, but it does not have the extension. So on this one, again, fold it down on itself. And here we're just going to fold this part down so that the waistband will just meet itself, and we will begin sewing here, again, right at the zipper end up for 1/2 inch. So I'm going to pin that and get ready to sew it. Okay, so here we can go right into the machine and we can sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance right down to that spot. Right there, and we can put our machine and we can even walk it right to this spot. Back stitch. On the side with the extension, I'm going to take my piece to the machine and I want to put the needle right into that spot. I'm going to find the spot right where I should begin. And that's where I'm going to start with a small back stitch and then up around the corner. Pivot. Then I'm going to make sure that they're the same, that they're going to match up perfectly. And once I know that, I'm going to trim some of this side away, especially in this upper corner. And then on this piece, I'm going to trim the tips and even some of that extra seam allowance. On the bottom, I'm going to leave it there. Then I'm going to turn it inside out and get it to be nice and clean. Once I've turned these pieces over and really worked it so that the edges are nice and nice 90-degree angles, I'm ready to go to the iron to press. So I've turned this one over so that it's just at the end of my zipper, and this one has the 1.5-inch extension. Now I'm going to, after pressing it, I folded this up under, but I made it so that it was slightly lower than the seam line. It's just going to make it easier to catch it in the ditch. So I put a few pins to hold it in place. And now from this side, from the right side, I'm going to go to the machine and I'm going to stitch right in the ditch, making sure though that I catch this on the other side. So you almost have to feel it. Starting with the needle down right in the ditch, I'm going to begin sewing this very carefully. The back stitch and come through. And like I said, I'm really working to make sure that I'm catching this underside. So carefully pulling this apart, we're going to just stitch in that area a little bit at a time, making sure that everything that you want to have happening is happening. You continue this way the whole way around. Once you've finished stitching, go on to the inside and inspect to make sure that you did catch it all along the way. And from the outside, I could have been a little closer here, but of course if I was using thread that was not a contrast, you wouldn't see it so much. So after this, we can actually press this so it rolls just slightly over that stitch, and it'll look great after that. Okay, so then we want to inspect and make sure that the zipper head is coming to the same point and that the overlap is going to look good. So we want our zipper to end there toward the top. It's going to fall in underneath those two little pieces. I'm going to trim away anything else we have. But there you go. You've got a short with a waistband. And pressing, of course, you've got to press.